Does the word Zooglea mean anything to you? Well, if it doesn't, it should. How about clogged drain lines, as in air conditioning condensate drain lines? This is the Drain I.V system, and it's meant to attack the clogging of drain lines in your air conditioning system. Now, what has happened over the last several years is that manufacturers have started manufacturing their air conditioning coils out of all aluminum. Now you say, well, air conditioning fins have always been of aluminum. Yes, however, the piping through them used to be copper, and many times now we're seeing aluminum. Now, the copper helped in aiding in the effect of creating that Zooglea, or creating that clogging or that snot effect in those drain lines. But with the copper removed, now all of the aluminum reacting with the water creates that Zooglea very quickly. Brand new systems are creating this within days or weeks of new units being installed. So if you're not, in effect, treating that Zooglea or snot, then what you're going to have is clogged air conditioning lines, which then, in effect, turn into clogged drain pans and overflowing drain pans, and now you have wet ceilings and new drywall falling on sometimes your brand new homes. This is the Drain I.V condensate drain cleaner system. What this does is actually injects a solution in the drain line either daily or every other day, or really however often you want to program it, and it keeps your drain lines clear. Now, the problem is in the Southeast United States and really elsewhere, but anywhere you deal with moisture, that moisture in the air is removed when we're removing the heat from the air. And what happens is it runs down those coils and then creates what you call Zooglea or snot in the drain line system, and it clogs drain lines, ruins ceilings, and causes a lot of trouble in homes. And this prevents all of that from happening because it's going to inject this inside the drain system. It can inject it into the pan, inject it into the drain line, and continues to combat that snot or slime from building up, and make sure that your drain line is clear and draining as it should be so you don't have any issues. Now, this system comes with everything you see here. This is the solution that's actually concentrated, and you dump that into this bag. This holds a gallon, so you take this, dump it into here, fill it up with water, and this is a 6-month supply. So every other day, it will inject a certain amount of solution into the system, and this is going to last you 6 months. It comes with basically the head unit, if you will, that you handle all the programming and the dosage and everything else. This runs on 24 volts, as you see right here, through a USB Type-C cable. This hooks into your 24-volt system, whether you're connecting it to a transformer or some of the new high-efficiency systems. You have a 24-volt supply already built into there that will run this just fine. And we don't call this a hose. We actually call this the IV line. And then this actually weights down in the bottom of the bag. And this mounts right there in the top of the T coming right out of the drain pan. And then we have all the other accessories for wiring, for hoses, and everything else. Let's go ahead and get started and get this mounted up and working. So the first thing we're going to do is get the panel off of this Innovair high-efficiency air system so that we can get to the control board and get this wired up. Okay, so we need 24 volts to control our system or to provide power for the system. And all we've done here, this is a very light little solid-state box. On an older system, you may want to mount this with self-tappers or with some screws, which are included in the Drain I.V system. But we're just utilizing, since this is pretty much a brand new cabinet, we're utilizing some 3M double stick tape. Should be no problem holding this, and going to press it right here against this cleaned metal right here. And then we're going to power it up and run our wires. So we need 24 volts, so you may be running off a transformer on an older system, but in this case, we've got 24 volts right here coming off this control board. And now we just need to run our USB-C cable out, and then we're going to run this right there to our main control system, which will handle all the dosage of the pumping and everything else. Of course, the first thing you want to do before starting anything is make sure that your power is disconnected. And then we're going to fish out our USB Type-C cable here.
Can I help, buddy?
Somebody got happy with the mastic here. Then we just need to run our wire over to where we're going to have the Drain IV system. All right, now that what's left on this side is just basically getting your panel on, you may want to confirm that you've got power coming out to that USB, which if you plug it in to the Drain IV, it will show. But otherwise, you're done with the wiring side. Okay, now we've got a few options in both hanging the bag or standing the bag up, as well as mounting the actual pump and control unit. Here, included with your system, you get a magnetic mount. Yours may be black, this one's silver. And basically, you can put this on anywhere on the cabinet and any ferrous metal, and it's going to be able to stick to it. And then you can hang your bag from it, as well as mount the control head or control unit to it. The control unit will come with this little bracket on it. And you can use that in several ways as well, whether you want to clip it on something. You can even put this thing right around the PVC and just bend that around and it will hold it. So there's several ways you can mount this. But the cool thing is this bracket here, because this is going to hold your bag, the IV bag, and this here, these two screw holes where we pulled off the bracket is going to mount right there. So take the same screws that you backed out of the bracket and you're going to put it right there on that bracket, and that's going to hold both the IV bag and the control unit. And again, your magnet is going to hold this. And by the way, that's like a 30-pound magnet, so it's not going to have any problem holding that 1 gallon of fluid, which is basically 8 pounds, and this is probably a couple of ounces. So again, the same two screws. Got that mounted. And you can take your protective cover off, power the system up just by holding it down for a couple of seconds. I think I just turned it off. There we go. And you can see 30 milliliters, which that's going to be your 180-day dosage, and then how often? Every 2 days. So right here, the left top button, which by the way, you'll have instructions on this as well, is how we can change. And then here's our plus. And our minus. So up on the how much or the dosage of 30 milliliters. And then we can go to the timed unit and we can increase every 3 days, every 4 days, or we can do it every day if we want to as well. We're going to stick with 2 days, 30 milliliters. Now we just need to hook up our hoses and hang our bag. We're going to go ahead and take our USB Type-C cable, very easy, and plug this in right here. And by the way, when you plug this in and you have a number flashing right here, this is actually a battery level indicator. So this 8 is really 80%. So we're at 80%. So 1 to 10 basically, this will go as high as 9 or 10, and that lets you know it's fully charged. So when you plug your USB Type-C cable in, you should see that number flashing, which telling you that is charging. That's another indicator of whether or not your system is energized. Is if it's on the battery saver, the onboard lithium-ion battery, then it will keep everything in the system. It's not going to run the pump, but it will keep everything saved in the system. Now this is our primary drain pan here. We've got the condensate drain coming out. This is our float switch on the primary drain. And then we've got a little angle here. It looks like about a 45-degree angle. We're going to go ahead and separate this, but we will leave that. Leave that on there, but take our cap off, and we're going to run a little 45-degree angle there so we can have more of a vertical takeoff. For this basically comes with the system, fits right there inside of a 3/4 inch slip coupling or slip coupling. And so now we have more of a vertical shot there. Not that that's really important, but just wanted to show that. So now we're ready to run our hose in here, hang our bag, and fill our bag. So we're going to go ahead and fill our bag. We'll run our hose after we got the bag filled, and we're going to dump our solution in first. Now we'll add our water. So we added most of a gallon of water, of course less the actual concentrated solution, and so now we have our bag ready to go. So you can see the bag here kind of turns into a cube almost. So you can see there it sits nicely on the ground if you even needed to do that, sit it next to your unit and pump from there. Or we can hang it on our bracket. So now we'll take our bag and we're just going to hang it on our hooks. Hangs nicely there. You see the magnet has no problem holding that. Now we need to take our lid back off. Need to feed our hose through there. So we've got a grommet right there into the lid. And then we want to make sure that's long enough with a little extra, because this bag may elongate a little bit as it empties. So make sure you've got a little extra. And it comes with this little weighted pickup here. And the hose on this goes actually inside this. And so now this whole weighted unit goes down inside the fluid. And for those of you that may not have a place to hang your bracket, don't worry, you can set this on the ground. And this lid is also spill proof. See there, I got fluid right there at the lid and nothing coming out. Coming out the hose, starting to bleed through the hose, but not coming out the lid. So again, we'll hang this back up here and get this plumbed in. So we got the hose coming out of the bottle, and that's going to go into the inside of the control head. For right this second, I'm going to go ahead and remove our USB Type-C cable so that we can see better of these in and out ports. So I'll leave a little extra here and then cut this. And for these connections here, you may want to utilize these clamps here. And we're going to go into the inside. And a couple of included spring clamps. Then we'll go ahead and connect our outside as well for the fluid going out. And again, put our spring clamp on there to keep it retained. Now we'll plug our USB-C cable in and power it back up. Now there are a couple of ways that you can route and install this. We're going to go directly into the condensate drain, as you see right here, that comes with this fitting. And basically with a, we can just push that hose right into there and it's going to grab that. You can also use this on the side of your condensate pan. So on the drain pan, you can clip this on the side and obviously route your hose through it, mount it that way. And there's a couple of these clips included in the unit. Since this is a pretty much brand new unit, we're just going to run it into the condensate drain line and do it this way. So go ahead and cut this. And this literally just shoves right into there, and you can see it grabs it. Now if I wanted to release that, we just push down on this and then we can pull out the tube. Push it back down and we're good to go. So when you initially get this set up, so now our lines are obviously run, but we need to purge the system or just make sure it works, right? So you're going to wake up the display. You can just hit the power button once and you see the display wakes up, and there's a test button here you will press twice. Now it purges all the lines, and there we have it. Now we have our nice fluid already purged into the lines, all the air is purged out of it, and it's ready to go. Give you a better view here of the solution. We'll purge it once more. If you're needing to run long runs of hoses and maybe mount this bag somewhere away from the actual where you've got it hooked up, you have these little nice hose clips with 3M double stick tape already on them. And so you can mount these on the air handler or wherever it is you're running them and be able to clip those hoses out of the way as well. This one here, the one closest to us, is the one we just did with the Drain IV. You see a little bit of a kind of a blue snot haze to the snot down there, and the other one, you see just that regular snot coming out of that drain line, and that's what you're dealing with that clogs these drain lines all the time. Now tomorrow, we'll actually be installing the Drain IV on that system as well, but you can see the difference already of that snot breaking up and that blue tint to it coming out of the condensate lines. So we did this whole process of installing this and filming in about 50 minutes, so a little over 45 minutes. I would say that if you knew the unit you're installing this on and you could find your 24 volts rather quick, I think this is a 15-minute install. Obviously, maybe 30 if you're going to the primary pan and having to, go into a transformer or add a transformer, something like that. But otherwise, very simple install. Controls are easy to use and set up, not complicated whatsoever. And then it all just works and makes sense. I mean, this is already designed for 3/4 inch slip. You can push your hoses in. Just a really simple system that works really well. If you're interested in the Drain I.V system, be sure to go to drainiv.com or your local HVAC contractor and ask for Drain I.V. And if you're concerned, this is a 10 mil bag. So the thickness of the bag is a 10 mil. So it's going to hold up to a lot of abrasion as well as even puncture resistance there. So really great quality on not only the product itself, but also on even the bag and the hoses. And now you see after it's been up here for a few minutes, now it's blinking 9. So we're now at 9 out of 10 or 90% on the battery being charged. Hey, be sure to check out Drain I.V at drainiv.com, and they can connect you with your local HVAC contractor that can install this for you, or they can connect you with the HVAC wholesaler if you are an HVAC contractor. Be sure to check us out on Instagram, Facebook, X, as well as TikTok. And hey, if you like this video, then be sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't done so already. And by all means, if you hated our video, well, hit the thumbs down. But would you let us know in the comments why? Have a great day and keep smiling.